3 minutes later, 15 hours, sometime later, 7 minutes later, many hours later, a few minutes later, soon, many inches later, 14 minutes later, 13 months later, more weekends later, 1 second later, earlier the next day, many moments later, 13 seconds later again, 1 hour later, 92 days later, 5 days later, 12 sleepless hours later, 1,100 years later, 2 hours later, 4 months later, the next morning, 1 second later, 1 day later, later that day, the next night, 5 months later, many minutes later, 9 minutes later, days later, a few inches later, 7 seconds later, 4 days later, hours later, 1 second later, the next morning, 4 hours later, 29 hours later, later that morning, 4,000 years later, later, 1 day later, 37 seconds later, see next day, the next minute, 20 months later, day 3, 24 hours later,